Farmer Courtney here. On the way to go up to a children's birthday party today, I was listening to a book called The Psychology of Achievement by Brian Tracy. And it reminded me of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, specifically how the way that he taught and delivered his message being divinely medicinal, right? Like every aspect of it. To heal the poisonous bite of the world serpent, it takes the medicine that God gives Muhammad, because Mr. Tracy was like expounding on self-concept and how much having a wrongly informed self-concept can affect, the trajectory of one's life. And then immediately, if you uproot falsehood and square that person's mind into a grounded self-concept that is based on truth and their full potential, that then they just, hit this curve. And so I was thinking of the Nation of Islam and just all that I've been blessed to learn that has been accomplished, very steadily and quietly. Oftentimes, aside from the fact that people just don't understand why I don't just move on and study something else, like it's just Black nationalism. And I push back on that and say, like, this is beyond Black nationalism. Like, you really should give it a couple hours study, because it's fascinating. It offers remedy for both people, because everyone right now is in need of some type of, medicine for thought, some type of remedy for the condition that this world has our mind in. And yeah, I was noticing that I haven't put these study group things away. And Minister Abdul Hakim Muhammad, he was really saying to us today that, the leaders of now really need to be mindful of an intelligent application of the truth. So both like the oppressed and the oppressor will have different reactions to hearing of the coming of Master Fard Muhammad. And he reminded all of us to really keep top of mind that you cannot rule even the wicked. You cannot do it out of hatred. You can't be considered a warner of God without love. And you've got to warn in a manner and spirit that explains and warns. You were made to do what you've been doing, right? So for the Caucasian people, that would be, and the leadership of this world, to bring into focus, the last 6,000 years under a divine outline, a divine lens, and to help us sort through it all and to gain a level of understanding and clarity, so that we were made to do what we've been doing. However, it's time that we receive the cease and desist letter of God's word and act accordingly. Because after that cease and desist message from a divine warner, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, has been delivered, and he's been doing it with excellence for the last 67 years, and specifically in the absence of his teacher physically being present, he's been carrying on that divine warning. And then comes God's judgment. So, I tend to be very much like, it time's up, I'm always feeling like that because of my gift being in risk assessment, and I notice how when I talk to other people, they don't feel the same sense of urgency. But I definitely, also being a farmer, watch the weather a lot and kind of watch a bunch of different aspects of life. And so I just feel like, I was writing these notes furiously because I didn't want to lose them. Because a lot of times people, have a reaction to me, whether they know me, whether they don't know me, and come at me like it's just Black nationalism, or, this is for Black people. What do you have to be around for? Kind of like you're, like souring the mix. Like we're not really into having to deal with you. And facts, like I understand that. And I finally had to just see that me keeping my mouth shut and me not saying anything is in direct opposition to the will of God at this time, because it's really quite peculiar, like how all these different things are dropped into my mind all the time. And I don't say much of what comes through all the time. I don't, and I haven't been. And it reminded me this time, the first time I was giving birth, and I had been up, most of the night by myself laboring, didn't want to bother people. The midwife had, fallen asleep around a little bit after midnight, and I was just laboring and doing the best that I possibly could, walking around just slowly, like getting more and more tired. The contractions were getting closer and closer together to the point where I just couldn't have any rest, but I just refused to kind of, like women do that at the point of transition where they have to really surrender and go through that experience of giving birth and just allowing what is meant to come forward to emerge. And so I feel like there was this timing where I just sat down in front of our dresser on the floor, and that finally woke up my children's father. And he was like, wait, do you want me to go get the midwife? And should I? I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess that would be good. I guess it's time for me to, have the midwives there and like some input, because I've got nothing, right? Like of myself, I'm just exhausted and I'm not going to be able to do that. And so I was saying that because I feel like there's been a lot of people that have been helping me in one way or another, big or small, just it could be that they've never had any contact with me, or that, I've been able to thank them, but have played a role in me finally intellectually, like getting up off the floor and allowing it to come to birth. And so I was just struck with how transformative the word of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was on the psychology of achievement of foundational Black Americans at that time.